Good morning, bom dia, bom dia, and magandang umaga. David Paul here. I thought this is such a perfect day, so I thought I'll make a little video about my site where I'm staying at the moment. It's messy because I've brought stuff from the other site and have to tidy up, and more than tidy up, because that doesn't really matter in the open air, you know, where things are positioned or whatever, you know, they're there. It's all like a giant table. What matters is to get things organized, stuff together, because some stuff has got to go to Portugal. So anyway, here I am at my site. I don't want to reveal the location, but I'm living in this tent here. And it's really nice because it's not too cold at night. I have had the odd cold night when I first came back to the UK. But I'm snug and warm and dry in there, and it's becoming nice, you know. So long as it doesn't rain too much and I get locked in and get claustrophobic. Have the odd panic attack at night. More concerned about the fact that I'm not making enough money that I want to be making. For my projects to make progress, and that, you know, I start to feel anxious about that. But I think next week I shall be back working. Okay, so there's something I salvaged from the previous place. It's got a flat tire. Whether I'll fix this up and get it going again, I'm not sure, because it just doesn't seem to fit into my life. It's so cumbersome to carry around. I could do with probably a folding bike. And you can't move it from country to country without paying a lot of money, 60 quid on Ryanair or something to take to Portugal. So I'm not sure about that. Possibly I'll take it to Portugal. I'll put it in storage in the forest and see, maybe. So anyway, this is the site. I'm up on a high ridge, and there's a ridge above me, and it's all dense forest, of scrubland trees, but it's difficult to get through, which is ideal because it keeps me separated from nosy people. And the ridge is so steep to climb, unless you had a real purpose to be coming up here, you wouldn't really want to be climbing up here. So this seemed to be a great place at first, but I can be seen from down below, but not now because the trees are in leaf and I'm starting to disappear. So what I did is I moved inside there into the middle of that piece of woodland to get me out of line of sight. But now I've moved back out again into this open area because I need to be working in that other area for future plans, which I'll tell you about in a minute. Okay, I've got these pallets, a long pallet there, bits and pieces which are cut up ready to use for firewood, but the rest of it is for a very, very small project. I put so much work into that, and those of you who watch this channel, I put so much work into my previous cabin, and most of the stuff got stolen, including the cabin. So I thought, right, I'm not going to invest. It's not so much the cost; it's the physical work that you invest in it. So I'm not going to invest that. I'm going to invest that in my home in Portugal. All my physical effort is going to go there. So what I did is I went down and I salvaged what I've got. There's a cast iron pan in here somewhere, and some bowls, and I got the original gas stove that I was using. I'll take that to Portugal with me in case my stove has been stolen in Portugal. This is terrible. This is like wherever I go, I'm getting stuff stolen, you know. I've got to come up with a system. So I've got my friend Keith in Portugal. He's going to look after things for me, so I can start to ship the stuff down. Here's the tent. Very small. Got a suit hanging there ready to go to work. And it's a bit too small. Maybe now as the summer's coming on, I should get a bigger tent and have more space. That's an idea. And take this little tent down to Portugal, because it's cold at night in Portugal, so the smaller the tent you have, the better for keeping warm. Okay, so as we go through here, I've been training vines and stuff over here to, like, I don't know why, it's a psychological thing. to hide stuff. There are loads of places I can construct in. I could start constructing in there. I gave that a lot of thought and retrieved some tarpaulins. I gave it a lot of thought about possibly constructing my new enterprise here, and then decided not. So I've got like all these bits and bobs of stuff like clothing and whatever that I brought from the cabin, and they will slowly, piece by piece, be going to Portugal, or they'll be hidden in the forest. I'll dig holes in the forest and bury them individually in plastic drums, very small plastic drums, and maybe keep stuff for here. So what I do, I was going to buy another stove, and then I decided to hell with it. I'll try and cook on a fire. And that was very inefficient, but it works. So then what I did is, you can see in there's a stainless steel apparatus in the middle there, and that works just fine. I'm making a cup of tea there now. So that works just fine, but it doesn't really like large pieces of wood. So what I've done is I'm cutting the wood into small lumps like that, and now I've got it sorted. It's working. There's one of the pans I retrieved. That's a Hairy Biker's frying pan. I would strongly recommend it. That will possibly go to Portugal as well. Yeah, I've got one of them under wok. I think they'll go to Portugal. So I've had breakfast, so I cooked there, and I've now got this arrangement here of these pallets where I can sit here so that the smoke's not blowing in my face, because honestly, if you're near a campfire, it uses your body as a sort of chimney, and the smoke heads towards you all the time, so you move the other side, heads back to it. And it's not the wind changing direction, it's the fact that it's attracted to your body, using you as a sort of chimney effect. So that's how I cook. And this morning I cooked my usual breakfast, which is porridge. Delicious. I kept 50% for later, for like a snack, or you have to have something in reserve because you can't be hungry in this environment. You need to keep your strength up, you need to keep fed, and that's the view I've got out there over the forests. Beautiful. So all of this, and then so here I am sitting distant from the fire, and it's merrily cooking away, making me a cup of tea. And I've got all of this area of forest here, which I could build in, I could construct stuff and so on. I could just do what I like with, and if I was staying in the UK, I would certainly utilise this area. However, I'm not. So what the plan is something ingenious. If you go onto YouTube, it's an idea I've had myself, but there is an architect in Germany doing this in reality. I had the idea of constructing buildings out of trees. So what I'm doing, I've got some shrubs ordered, which are like small trees. They grow to about 30 feet, 40 feet maximum. And I've also gone out and got some cuttings of the same thing. Where are your cuttings? There. Okay. This here is an evergreen plant, tree, shrub. And they will be woven together. So we'll weave them together, and they will provide camouflage for this site. So I'll weave them in a circle. So once those things have rooted, I'll plant them out. In addition to that, I've already ordered 10 of them, and I'm hoping that they arrive today. I really hope they arrive today. But I'm also going to get more cuttings and plant them. So with this mattock, this digger thing, I've started digging a circle. So there's a circle here, which is sufficient. If it was a tent, you would regard it as a largish tent. It would be a good 3-man tent. And the plan is to plant the trees all around, these little trees, in a circle to form a sort of hedge. And then you'll be standing here, you'll lie down, and then you'll be invisible because, you know, they'll be a couple of feet high. So anybody sees the area, they'll not see you. And then gradually, as they grow up, take the side shoots off and just allow them to grow vertically. As they grow up, you weave them together, crisscross, crisscross, and you weave up a whole cylinder here towards the top. And as you slowly move upwards, you then change level and use the bottom part as storage. And then the higher part is where you're going to live and sleep and so on. So you get some pallet wood and make a floor there, and then that's it. And then eventually when you hit the height that you want, you close the top in, weave them in to create a sort of basketware type of, I don't know, like a bottle, I would guess you could call it. A cupola or a dome or whatever. And then you're hidden, so you're actually inside the tree. And on top of that, you're also elevated up. So you can now put windows in and you can look out on the terrain, and you're in this little short tree house that nobody even knows is there because you're living inside the tree. And that's the idea. So now, I shouldn't probably be revealing this on the internet, but as long as I don't reveal the location. And anyway, anyone who cared to come here and steal anything, there will be nothing to steal. There will be a floor and a bed. So the bed will be somewhere over here, and that's all you're going to do. What are you going to do? Come and steal some pallet wood? So that's it. And as it gradually grows and grows and grows, it'll completely swamp the entire thing, and nobody will ever know that it's here. An ideal tree to do this with would be holly, if you did it with holly trees, because nobody wants to crawl around. Nobody wants to go anywhere near holly trees. They're so bad, you know, they'll get stabbed to bits. So that's that, and eventually it'll all just be buried in vegetation. I'm waving my hands around here to express myself. I'm not on camera. Okay, so over here we have pots ready to receive the little trees when they arrive, hopefully today. So they will receive the trees, and I'll grow them on and grow them as big as I can. I'll feed them, I'll mollycoddle them, I'll do everything for them. Then I'll cut the bottoms out of the pots and then put them in the earth. Then I will let them take root, and then eventually I'll take the pots away. But you know, as I mentioned, in Portugal, the environment wants to steal your food. So if I'm feeding these things, everything else around it is stealing the plant food. So initially grow them in there. In here, there's more area here. I could have I did think about building a cabin in there, but this here seems to be the central point because people walk along over there in the distance, and I don't want them coming forward and investigating. I'm gonna feed everything around here, so it's so much like a jungle. It's just impenetrable, you know. So this seems to be the central point, and also you do need the sunlight. I could grow the trees in there, and I could grow the trees in here or there, but the problem is they're not going to get much light, and you want them to have the light so that they can grow fast. So that'll move them on quicker. This is a couple of years job, so what I'm going to do is this hedge thing will take a couple of years to grow, and I'll live in a tent until it starts to close in. So I'll be spending 3 to 4 months in the UK on my visa, which will allow me to leave Portugal and come over here and work. I do some work, and then I go back to Portugal, and then I'm not paying rent and bills and all that sort of stuff, and I just have to rough it. This as crazy as this what I'm doing may seem, you know, for me it's working, and I'm kind of an expert at it. It's difficult to get started doing it. You got to find exactly the right site and so on. I wouldn't want to advertise too much where I am, because I don't want this forest filling up with people. There's only myself and one other person, and you know, we're cool with each other, and he's determined he doesn't want other people being here. So that's that. So we're not making a song and dance about this place. Find your own place. You can watch a channel called Log Hoppers, by the way. They will tell you fine details about actually living in the forest, and I'm using living in the forest in this lifestyle in order to save money to advance my projects in the Philippines and Portugal. But they're into it as a total lifestyle. Personally, I wouldn't do it their way. I would go and buy some land in, say, Portugal, and I would go and live on the land. But they've got their own reasons. But they're doing it as I say, as a lifestyle. I wouldn't mind doing this in Portugal. It wouldn't be too bad. In fact, I may do it whilst I'm fixing up the house. So that's it. Anything else I can tell you about? All those plastic bits, as messy as they are, they're not rubbish. They're going to be used. I use them to light the fire. They're polyethylene, which just burns and produces carbon dioxide and water. Burning polyethylene is not toxic to the environment. It's the chlorinated plastics you got to worry about. It's no worse than burning candle wax. And that's it. Clothes drying over there, and go to the laundrette, bring the clothes back wet, hang it up. It dries beautifully. I dried a duvet the other week, which I recovered from the old cabin, and the duvet is just fine and came up beautiful and clean. Because one of the things about modern materials is they're basically plastic, so if you wash them, they do come up clean. Whereas something like cotton, which we all love, it rots and gets stained and all sorts. But they came up clean, and I got some trousers out of there, shirts and socks and underpants and all sorts of stuff, which you know, I could have just thrown the towel in on. So one beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. Let's have a scan of the treetops. I hope this hasn't died due to lack of power, because I'm only on 18%. Okay. Well, I'll make another video, a follow-up, when I get the trees in and I get started with them. And I'll show you what this is going to be. And I'll just stick with camping over there for now, because this place is not going to be ready for quite a while to be inhabited. So I'll just leave it alone so it gets the full sunlight. You know, treat it nice and give it everything it needs, its biological needs, which is mostly food, water and sunshine. And leave it at that. So, Atilago. Makita tayo sa kana. See you later. Jesus be with you.